So honestly, mages, this card goes a lot harder than I thought it did. So this is Aang at the Crossroads. This is a card that I have in my Katara the Fearless ally deck. A Bant deck ability, if a triggered ability of an ally triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So Aang of the Crossroads, I used in 2 of the matches that I was playing with my allies last night for Friday Night Magic. And honestly, it just went hard. So Aang has a triggered ability of when he enters, you look at the top 5 cards of your library, you put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Random order, sorry. So you might be thinking, okay, yeah, no, that triggers twice a Katara, cool, you're going to get 2 creatures. A lot of the creatures in this deck are 4 or less, so I have a pretty good chance of hitting something. But oh my god, did I push this even harder. Had Panharmonicon at the field at the same time. Made it trigger 3 times. I didn't get to play this last night because it was my promo for the night, but Roaming Throne, choose ally. That's going to trigger a 4th time. So you could get like 4 triggers out of this at once. And we can even extend that by flickering Aang every turn. Because, yes, he does have the ability of when another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Aang at the next upkeep, which, to be fair, that is not an optional ability. However, if Aang leaves the field because of Conjurer's Closet, beginning of your next end step, exile target creature you control, return that card to the battlefield under your control, you can flicker Aang. And I believe that would... I don't know the exact ruling if that would make it so he didn't see that other creature leaving the battlefield. But even if it does, that still means you get another 4 instances of his ability going off before it even transforms. And even after it transforms, its ability still is absolutely incredible. Getting Earthbend 2, which becomes Earthbend 2 4 times with all that stuff in play. Land creatures get Vigilance. Okay, so I'm going to Earthbend Secret Tunnel. Can't be blocked. And honestly, that's how I got one of my biggest wins last night. I Earthbent Secret Tunnel after I used its ability to pay 4 and tap it and make 2 creatures unblockable for the turn. I made my biggest things unblockable. Then just untapped Secret Tunnel with North Pole Patrol. Just an incredibly powerful card. So like I said, honestly, this is becoming a really big part of the Allied deck. And I do think that every Allied deck should be using this if Katara is the commander. Because this just allowed me to swarm like crazy. Especially since you got plenty of cards in this deck that will get counters when allies enter, or they'll make allies when they enter, like Kyoshi Warriors or Avatar Enthusiasts. And honestly, you can just get some insane gains with this deck. So like I said, if you're really a fan of Avatar, I really do suggest building the Katara the Fearless deck, because this deck is going hard. There is so much good tribal support and ally support. And this deck can just go absolutely crazy. Like, I took 2 guys out at once with this last night. I flipped over Aang to Aang and La. I can pull that out. Probably should have pulled it out beforehand, but I did not. Because I was excited to make this video and talk about the deck. Because like I said, it is a lot of fun. This deck has been absolutely incredible. So yeah, I flipped over Aang Swift Savior, Waterbend 8, to become Aang and La Ocean's Fury. Whenever he attacks, you put a 1/1 counter on each tapped creature you control. And I had so many friggin' tokens on the field that they all became 4/4s instantly. Actually, I did a lot more damage than that because this is a triggered ability, so it would have gone off 3 times with my board. So yeah, it did go off 3 times. Sorry. But no, honestly, Bant Allies, I think, are one of the strongest decks to come out of Avatar. I really do suggest building it. Earthbending is, I think, one of the stronger ones too, with Toph the First Metal Bender. But I feel like Katara the Fearless kind of outpaces it. And I haven't gotten a look at Iroh Grand Lotus yet with the lesson strategy. But Temur Spellslingers has a lot of great potential, especially with Strixhaven coming out next year. But I think at the moment, Katara the Fearless may be the strongest deck coming out of the Avatar set because there is just so much support. And honestly, I am really glad that I was called early enough in the randomized for our promos that I was able to grab this roaming throne before anyone else. That's how they randomize our names in the system, and I was like the second or third guy to get called up. I was very lucky. This immediately went into my deck, and I am just excited to finally use it. But yeah, that's just a little quick thing on Aang of the Crossroads going even harder than I thought he did, because he was definitely doing work for me and refilling my field after a couple board wipes last night. And I know that there are some people that use him as the commander, but I still think having Katara as the commander is just better because you get so much value out of those ability triggers, and almost every single creature in this deck has a triggered ability. So Katara on the field as soon as you can, absolutely amazing. So that's just all I want to talk about. Just hope you guys really enjoyed it. This is a pretty cheap deck to build. I mean, yes, the Roaming Throne is like $30, but you don't technically need the Roaming Throne, and the rest of the deck is honestly only a few dollars, even at the most expensive cards. Like, I think Aang is like 3 or 4. I think Katara is like 3 or 4. I think Conjurer's Closet, besides Roaming Throne, is the most expensive card at like $5, I think. And like really the only expensive cards in the deck, I think, are like the Aang, the Katara, Conjurer's Closet, Herald's Horn. And yeah, Roaming Throne is again expensive, but you don't technically need the Roaming Throne. I beat people with... I took out 2 guys in the pot at once without the Roaming Throne. So it's good, and yeah, I'd consider it technically necessary, but you can also play the deck without it. Like, it makes it go that much harder, but still. But yeah, Katara the Fearless, absolutely fantastic deck. I really hope you guys enjoy it.